Mr. Kumar Iyer, British Deputy High Commissioner. Mr. Kumar Iyer is the new British Deputy High Commissioner for Western India. He has also been appointed as the Director General for UK Trade and Investment, UKTI, in India. In London, he has been a high-ranking official at the British Treasury and at the Prime Minister's Strategy Unit. An M.Phil in economics from Cambridge University, he has been a Kennedy Scholar and a teaching fellow in international capital markets at Harvard University. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you the one and only Mr. Kumar Iyer.
I think the students can do better than that. Good morning, Indore. Much better, much better. This is Rajashri Birla, Mr. Shamit Dave, honourable guests, friends and students. It is a real pleasure and an honour to be here today. This is the Golden Jubilee IMA Conclave. It is a fantastic event. It is already enormously impressive and I'm greatly looking forward to the next few days. I'm here not just on my own, I'm here with a huge team from UK Trade and Investment. I'm here with a number of colleagues from the British High Commission, and we're here as part of a This is Great Britain campaign. And we're here to talk about what we think is great in Great Britain. But we want to do this in a way that explains to people what this represents for Indore, what this represents for India, and what this means for our relationship going forward. But before I do any of that, and I talk about Britain, which I'm sure I could do for some time, I wanted to talk a little bit about India. I wanted to talk about Indore, and I wanted to talk about what I think personally is the state of the relationship at the moment. Now, when I go back and forth to the UK, when I talk to cabinet ministers, when I talk to boards of companies like BP, like Shell, one of the questions I always get asked is, what do I think about the outlook for India? What do I think about the future for India? People say that growth has slowed, they mark that the elections are forthcoming and uncertain, but my answer is easy. I tell them that I am really and I am genuinely optimistic about India's future. And I give them three reasons. And all of those reasons are personified, I think, in Indore. The first thing I say is don't make any generalizations about India. My experience has shown that there is no such thing as an average Indian. It is a phenomenally rich country. Please, behind him. Can we just thank you? What I tell them is that you need to get away from not just the main metros of India. You need to go out and see the growth that is taking place in cities like Indore, where growth is still in double digits, where the infrastructure, where the roads, where the communication, where the energy is so vibrant and is so prevalent that you will change your mind about any kind of perception for India. In the last few days in Indore, speaking with government officials, I have seen how transport plans have moved from master plans on paper to real roads, to concrete investments and to firm commitments. It is not easy to deliver that kind of change anywhere in the world, let alone in India. And for that, I think the government of Madhya Pradesh needs to take considerable credit, and I'm sure you'll join me in appreciating it. The second thing I tell them is, let's not talk about this in the UK. Come to India. Come and meet the people. And you will find that India is too full of smart, determined entrepreneurs, smart, determined students who want to deliver, who want to do the best that they possibly can. There are too many of them for India to not succeed. It is a testimony of this event today, of IMA's strong presence in Indore, of the business community here, that Indore is very much part of that entrepreneurial spirit. I learnt a new word in the last 2 days. I'm afraid my Hindi is not very good. I learnt the word jugaad. I was going to explain what it meant, but I clearly don't need to. India is too full of the creativity, the entrepreneurial spirit of jugaad, knowing how to get things done when you do not necessarily have the resources. The ants displayed jugaad. There's too much of that for India to fail, and I tell them, come here and experience it for yourself. The third thing I tell them is, if you really want to know about a country's future, if you really want to know how it is going to be over the next 5, 10, 20 years, I'm sorry to say, don't look at the crowd here, look at the crowd there. India is full, absolutely full, of good schools, good students, and Indore is a perfect example of that. The IITs, the IIMs, daily college, countless schools, a long series of great schools, great education, and something that other countries cannot manufacture easily. An inbuilt desire in everyone that values education. And this is something I try and communicate to people back home in the UK, and it's very hard to do, to explain how people here want to learn. They appreciate knowledge, and they appreciate the work that is required to get there. And that is something that is almost uniquely Indian in many ways. I would say to the crowd of students here, you are India's future. You are phenomenal. You should be inspired by today. You should be brave. And you should be confident that you have the ability to change India, to change the world. And I think India's future, because of you, looks great, and so does India's. Now, I'm afraid it is very easy to say nice things. But one of the things that I can say is that the UK government is putting its money where its mouth is as well. We really genuinely believe in India, and we believe in a stronger, deeper and wider relationship between the UK and India. The Foreign Office of the UK, I'm sure many of you will know, and the diplomatic service is reducing its costs across the whole world. People are looking to make savings and pull things back. In India, I'm pleased to say, the Foreign Office is increasing its presence, growing its footprint, and wants to deepen that relationship. And we are putting our money very much where our hearts and our thoughts are. And that is something that I wanted to make sure that I communicated today. Our message is a simple one. We think, and we are proud of Britain, and we are confident of our future. But we also know is that that future doesn't lie alone. The UK wants to work with the best in the world, the best in India, and in India you find the best in the world. We want to build that relationship. And I want to explain to you some of the things that make Britain great and the areas where we would like to work together. The first is that UK innovation is great.
The UK is a very small country, but it has always been a country of innovators and entrepreneurs. The steam engine, the television, the telephone, today's iPad, the internet, SMS text messaging. And we do this because of our culture, the education system, and also, as you've seen here, the patent box, the legal protection, and the tax benefits for innovation. The second area, I think, is that UK business is great. UK is one of the most business-friendly places in the world. It is the place where It takes less than 13 days to set up a business in the UK. It is where India invests more in the UK than it does in the whole of the rest of the European Union combined. And I'm pleased to say that the UK invests more in India than any other country in Europe. This is a bilateral relationship. Trade needs to and has to go both ways. UK entrepreneurs are great. I'm going to go back, I'm going to teach them the word jugaad. People like Richard Branson, Sir Paul Smith, James Dyson, the inventor of the Dyson vacuum cleaner, and countless other things, are just a few examples of some of the great entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurial spirit in the UK. The Dyson vacuum cleaner, I don't know if any of you have seen it. It is such a beautiful and revolutionary piece of engineering that in the UK it has created a miracle. It has done something that no one else has ever been able to do. It has got men to do the household cleaning. It is something that is genuinely wonderful. UK technology is great. India recently hosted the Formula One Grand Prix. The cutting-edge technology in every Formula One car, 8 out of 10 Formula One teams, and most of the R&D in the world in motorsport and the cutting edge of auto technology takes place in the UK. 95% of all mobile phones, and most of all of your mobile phones in this room, are made with a microchip that was designed in the UK. UK education, and I say this to all of the students in particular here, is open for business. We want the best, the brightest students from around the world to come and study in the UK. We have 4 out of the top 10 universities in the world, and we have a strong tradition of education links between UK and India. Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Foreign Secretary Salman Khurshid, Nobel laureates like Amartya Sen, great industrialists like Cyrus Mistry, and of course Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, all studied in the UK. And keeping that tradition going is very important with us. We have with us here in Indore today and these few days 30 companies from the UK, 7 universities, all here to engage you as students and as businesses. Our culture is also great. You're probably fully aware of our classical art and the literature of Shakespeare, but our modern contemporary culture plays on the world stage as well. 10% of all the world's sales in arts come from British artists. The world's best-selling video game, Grand Theft Auto, I'm sure some of the students here have played it. It's a little bit... I'm sure your parents are not too happy. It's a little bit violent. But I must confess, I play it a little bit of myself when I need a bit of, violent therapy to unleash the anger. It's better than then going and having a talk with your wife. Better play the game first. Last but not least, our sport is great. The English Premier League is the best and most watched football league in the world. Scotland is the home of golf, a game beloved of many Indians and growing in huge popularity here. You'll note that I don't mention cricket. I think after the Ashes, I think I better not mention cricket for a while. I think what is true is what the great writer Ashish Nandy once said, that cricket is actually an Indian game that was accidentally invented by the British. But what I think underpins all of this, the innovation, the business, the education, the technology, the culture, the sport, is British creativity. There is a desire to never stand still. But nobody goes on that journey alone. And we're here in Indore, and our presence in India is to find partners for that journey. We think India is great. We think cities like Indore are great too. And what we would like to do today, I would love to meet as many of you as possible. I'd like our team to meet as many of you as possible. We have stalls with British businesses that I know that want to meet you as well. And we want to collect business cards and start relationships right now and for the future, for the next 5, for the next 10 years. And we want to do that together with you. And I think the theme for today's IMA Conclave of Walk the Talk is very much a joint spirit, something that we would like to share with you. I want to say thank you again to all of you, and I look forward to meeting you, as many of you as possible in the next 2 days. Thank you.
How do you feel about being Indian while working with the foreign countries?
I am very proud of my Indian cultural heritage. My parents were born in India. My mum's side of the family is from Kerala. My dad's side of the family is from Tamil Nadu. My dad says he married a foreigner. And sometimes the language barriers between Tamil and Malayalam get in the way. But I was born in London. I've lived all of my life in England, and I feel very British by citizenship and in terms of culture, but I have a shared Indian heritage, which I'm very proud of. My situation is not unique. There are almost somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million people of Indian origin, of the Indian subcontinent origin, in the UK. In a country of 60 to 65 million people, that is a large number of people. People of Indian origin are very comfortable with their identity in the UK, and for me, working here as the British Deputy High Commissioner is a great honor, it's a great privilege, and I really enjoy it.
Thank you. Mr. Iyer, we have another one for you. How has the cultural difference, what type of challenges have you faced because of the cultural difference?
I haven't found too many challenges yet. I need to improve my Hindi and I need to improve my Tamil. I find the cultural richness of India fascinating. In fact, one of the reasons I wanted to take this job was, as well as numerous professional reasons. India is one of the most exciting places to be at the moment, and I gave you many reasons for that before. But I also took this role for personal reasons. I have 2 small children. My wife is of Welsh origin, and by being here for 4 years, my children have the opportunity to experience India's culture, to really live India's culture and understand it in a way that they will never do if I just tell them stories when I am back in the UK. So actually, I don't see cultural challenges, I just see cultural opportunities, and India has a fantastic culture and heritage it should be proud of.
That's very well said. There never are cultural challenges, they are cultural opportunities. Mr. Iyer, what do you think can be adopted from Britain to India and India to Britain?
How long do I have to answer?
As short or as long as you like.
There's a huge amount that both countries can learn from each other. I don't even know where to start. In fact, I would say not only do we have a lot to learn from each other, I think we have a lot to learn together. I think one of the best examples of that and how I know the UK government and the Indian government is trying to facilitate that is in 2008, the joint research budget between UK and India was £1 million. Now, 5 years later, it is over £100 million. And that is what we have to learn together, and it only needs to increase.
Very true. Mr. Iyer, Mr. Aditya Desai, Cummins Turbo Technologies, wishes to ask you, don't you think UK should set up more R&D facilities in India, apart from just manufacturing?
I think that the opportunity to do joint research is huge. I mean, I can say again what I said before, and we are very much leading the way in doing what we can as a government to facilitate that. But if the question is there opportunity, I think the answer is yes. And if the question then is, what are we doing about it to exploit that opportunity? I think the answer is, it's things like this. We are bringing 30 British companies, 40 British companies at a time to different cities across India. We run lots and lots of delegations like this across India throughout the year. And what we believe is that it is right to let businesses make that decision on the investment in research. We believe that businesses know best what their particular research needs are, and we believe that we need to there's a role for government to convene, to bring people together and to introduce people, and to make things easy. But after that, we want you to take it forward to the next step and make that investment, and there is a huge opportunity for that here in India.
That's very well said, and I hope that we grow and build together. Another one for you, sir. What corporate mantra would you like to give to the management students of Indore?
Well, at the moment, Jugaad is definitely my favorite. Like, you don't need to look any further than the people in this room to get inspiration. I think walk the talk is a great strapline and phrase. And what I would tell people, and having spent a lot of my personal background either teaching in universities, including management students, or working for management consulting firms with the Boston Consulting Group, I would say mantras, theories, organizational frameworks, they're good and they're useful to an extent. But there is no substitute for just getting on with it and doing the job. Always stay focused on the output, stay focused on the goal, and if something feels like it's taking too much time, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Work the talk. We now move on with the ceremony. Sorry, we have one more question. Mr. Iyer? What do you think separates brilliant decision makers from average ones?
I actually think there are probably a number of features, and I say this from my experience of having worked with prime ministers, with having worked with chancellors, and a number of senior business leaders. It is not just the basis on which you make the decision, how you are able to quickly absorb information, how quickly you are able to process information, essentially how smart you are. But it's also about how you communicate that decision. No decision, however smart you are, however correct it is effective if you are not able to communicate it and show respect for the person who has asked you to make that decision. So the things that I've found in the people that I have worked with who have been excellent decision makers is an ability to assimilate information, understand it, make quick and practical decisions. A decision delayed is a decision missed. If you keep procrastinating and eventually make it, it is almost not worth making. So process it, but also to communicate it very clearly and very quickly.
I guess people really want to ask you some questions, so I'm going to keep you a little bit longer. Mr. Iyer, I have a little cheeky question here. This is from Mr. Devraj Badgara. Mr. Iyer, you are a charmer. How do you manage being married?
I love my wife a lot.
I guess that answers it. Okay, another one. What kind of courage corporate professionals what kind of courage corporate professionals need to make people agree or disagree?
It feels like there's two questions there, one about courage and one about building agreement. For me, I've always found the best way to build agreement with someone is to first understand the other person. You are never going to get anywhere if you don't have empathy. No negotiation, no discussion is complete if you can't understand where the other person is coming from. In terms of courage, the thing that I would remind, especially the students up above, is that when you come to difficult decisions, whether it's at work or at home, they can feel very intimidating, they can feel very scary, but the reality is that very few decisions we make in our lives are life-threatening. There are very few things we do that genuinely put our personal futures and livelihoods at risk. At any given point in time, it feels like a decision or an exam or something is the end of the world, but the reality is we not only have second chances, we have third chances and we have fourth chances. Be confident, make decisions as I sort of described earlier, and have empathy in your negotiations and discussions with other people.
That's true. We need to take chances and we need to learn from our mistakes. Mr. Kamlesh Dave wishes to ask you, sir, how Jugaad can help achieve international standard products?
I think that question you need to direct to one of our speakers tomorrow, a preeminent professor who will know probably better than me how to translate Jugaad into a global mantra. But how can it do it? I mean, I think the ants in that illustration described it really well. Is, look, have a bit of a discussion, but, get on and just do things. I'm afraid I'm not a management guru or a management wizard, so I don't want to write the textbook, but, I would definitely buy the next book someone writes on Jugaad.
Thank you, sir.